Ooh, the bright colors, there's the fun names. Who doesn't love the cereal aisle, right? But a recent study took a close look at newly launched breakfast cereals between 2010 and 2023. They were all geared to kids ages 5 to 12. That's 45% of the maximum amount of added sugars that the American Heart Association recommends that a child has in an entire day. The fat, sodium, and sugar content trended higher, while some of the good stuff like the protein and the fiber, well, it dropped. And when it comes to sugar, the numbers really jump out. On average, a single serving of cereal contains nearly 3 teaspoons of sugar. For context,
walk down the cereal aisle of any supermarket and you'll see a rainbow of boxes screaming for your attention. Bright mascots, colorful marshmallows, chocolate swirls, frosted flakes, honey drizzles. It's an endless parade of breakfast foods that look and taste more like dessert than anything remotely healthy.
When shopping for cereal, don't just look at the front of the box. Flip it over and take a close look at the ingredients list and the nutrition facts. Ingredients are listed in order of amount from most to least. So whole grains like whole wheat, oats, or barley should be the first ingredient.
But do try to choose one with less than 6 grams of added sugar per serving.
If your family's favorite cereal has more sugar than you'd like, don't feel like you have to give it up completely.
Whole grains have fiber, and that keeps you full. You can further boost the fiber content of your cereal by adding an unsweetened dried or fresh fruit. And your cereal does not have to be sugar-free to make it a healthy breakfast.
For decades, marketing has convinced families that pouring sugar into a bowl with milk counts as a wholesome way to start the day. But the reality is that most of these cereals are nothing more than candy disguised as breakfast, spiking your blood sugar, leaving you hungry an hour later, and setting you up for a crash before lunch. Still, not every cereal is a fraud. While many belong in the dessert aisle, a few options actually deliver the nutrition and satiety you need to power through the morning.
And here's the big thing about cereal. This about is how much a typical person would probably pour into a bowl to eat. But watch this. Let's take a look at how much a real serving actually is.
Just try mixing it half and half with a lower sugar, higher fiber cereal. That way everyone stays happy and you're sneaking in some extra nutrition. It's an easy way to find a good balance.
The biggest offenders are the brightly colored, marshmallow-filled cereals that double as candy in disguise. These cereals are often loaded with 10 to 15 grams of sugar per serving, and that's before you add milk. The serving size listed on the box is laughably small compared to what people actually pour into a bowl. So in reality, you're eating 2 to 3 times that sugar amount. What you're left with is a bowl of crunchy candy pieces that spike your blood sugar sky high, only to leave you drained and craving more sugar soon after.
Your favorite morning breakfast cereals may no longer be deemed healthy if new federal rules go into effect. The FDA's new meaning of healthy would disqualify cereals such as Honey Nut Cheerios, Special K, and Raisin Bran. New qualifications for healthy would focus on how all the nutrients improve health as opposed to the current definition in which it's based solely on individual nutrients. New limits on sugar, salt, or saturated fat means they won't make the cut. The agency says changing the definition will help many people improve their dietary choices.
They may be fun for kids on a Saturday morning, but they set up terrible habits and leave little room for real nutrition. Chocolate-based cereals fall into the same trap. Sure, they taste amazing. Who doesn't like the idea of having a bowl of chocolate milk for breakfast? But the price for that taste is high. Cocoa-flavored cereals are usually packed with corn syrup, processed cocoa powder, and refined grains that lack fiber. Instead of keeping you full, they digest quickly, flooding your body with sugar and leaving you hungry long before lunchtime. They create a cycle of dependence where you start your day with dessert and then spend the rest of it battling cravings. Frosted cereals, those coated with shiny layers of sugar or glaze, are another group to avoid. These might start with something harmless like cornflakes or puffed rice, but once you drench them in sugar coatings, they lose any semblance of being a breakfast food. The crunch is addictive, the sweetness feels comforting, but your body pays the price. Not only are you getting empty calories, but the lack of protein and fiber means your stomach feels empty soon after. These cereals essentially condition your body to expect dessert in the morning, which makes healthier choices harder down the line. Fruit-flavored cereals deserve a special call-out. The vibrant pinks, purples, and blues promise berry goodness. But in reality, they contain almost no actual fruit. Instead, you're eating sugar mixed with artificial flavors and food dyes like Red 40 or Yellow 5. These dyes have been linked to hyperactivity in children and other negative effects, but they're still widely used because they make cereals look fun. Parents may be fooled into thinking they're giving their kids something fruity, but the truth is they're serving up a bowl of chemicals with no real nutrition. Even honey or maple cereals can be misleading. The golden drizzle shown on the box rarely matches what's inside. Most of the time, the honey or maple is simulated with artificial flavors, while the real sweetness comes from plain sugar or corn syrup. These cereals sell the illusion of a wholesome, natural breakfast while delivering the same dessert-level sugar load as everything else. It's clever branding, but devastating for anyone trying to eat healthier in the morning. The problem with all these dessert-like cereals isn't just the sugar, it's the lack of balance. They rarely provide enough protein, fiber, or healthy fats, the nutrients that actually keep you satisfied. Instead, you end up with a sugar rush and an empty stomach, setting yourself up for snacking before noon. It's a vicious cycle of craving, crashing, and craving again. One that's all too common in households that rely on these cereals as everyday breakfast. But here's the good news. There are cereals that actually do their job. The first group worth considering are high-fiber, whole-grain cereals. These are usually made with oats, bran, or shredded wheat and contain minimal sugar. Fiber is a game changer at breakfast. It slows digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and helps you feel full for hours. Instead of crashing mid-morning, you stay steady and energized. These cereals may not have cartoon mascots, but they deliver what your body needs. The second category of worth-it cereals are protein-fortified options. A few modern brands have realized the need for more protein in breakfast foods, and they've stepped up by adding pea protein, whey, or soy protein to their cereals. A bowl with 10 to 15 grams of protein makes a huge difference, helping you avoid mid-morning hunger and supporting muscle repair. Combined with moderate sugar and whole grains, these cereals are far more balanced than the sugary classics. Lastly, muesli and granola-style cereals can be a smart option, but with a caveat. When made with oats, nuts, seeds, and dried fruit, these cereals provide natural fiber, healthy fats, and a slower-burning source of energy. The key is watching out for brands that overload them with sugar or oil. A clean muesli with minimal sweetener can keep you full for hours, while a heavily sweetened granola is just another dessert in disguise. The difference comes down to the ingredient list. If you recognize the foods and see real nuts, seeds, and oats, you're on the right track. The cereal aisle is a battlefield between marketing and reality. On one side are the colorful boxes that promise joy, but deliver nothing more than candy in disguise. On the other are the understated brands that focus on fiber, protein, and real ingredients that truly fuel your morning. The choice comes down to what you want your breakfast to do for you: give you a sugar high that crashes fast, or keep you full and steady through the day. Avoid the dessert cereals. Stick to whole grains, protein-packed options, and clean granola, and you'll finally have a breakfast that earns the title of the most important meal of the day.